It's
where
Motta under pressure is good. Motta under pressure, I like it.
Motta under pressure?
I like it.
What about the Calabria Chaos?
What?
What about the Calabria Chaos?
There is no chaos. Everything is been clarified.
Has it?
I heard that on the locker room they hugged each other. It's too much adrenaline. The last 5 minutes were kind of chaotic because AC Milan was on the verge of losing the game. I even threw my phone on the fucking phone as at the straights. And then all of a sudden I stuck in front of the TV. I said, oh, God only knows what Marco, Grella, and everybody else are thinking over there. So then I stuck again by the screen, and then I saw, a nice pass from...
So you weren't watching the game?
I was watching the game, but I was livid. I said, we're losing against Parma. We're dropping 6 points with Parma. Before. Yeah, but, then I saw Reinders just equalizing 2-2. I said, okay, at least I salvaged my beautiful week. And then... given the fact that Sinner has won already, I was up since 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was all pooped out. I said, come on, we got Sinner winning. He's an AC Milan fan. He's got my Stelvio that is black and red, and everything else was lining up. I said,
except Milan.
This needs to be lined up.
And then, that's why they won.
And then, that's the reasons why they won.
Gotcha. The fact that Milan were losing, I should say Parma were winning in the 91st minute, yet somehow they lost the game, is ridiculous to me. And it kind of overshadows Milan's performance. Milan's performance was so bad. Yeah. Oh, my God. The first half, there was nothing from Milan. There was no... He subbed out Leao and Theo. They're lucky that the team won. Otherwise, there would have been more conversation around that. I think he took a page out of Fonseca's book once again, benching the two of them. They were terrible.
I got news for you. I think I was reading the substitution of the two of them as, it's like, hey, we have an important game coming up Wednesday.
You don't sub at halftime.
You don't, right?
You don't sub at halftime.
So what would be the right time to sub?
Because they were both terrible.
55, 60th minute at least.
We were tied.
If you sub at halftime, that shows you did something wrong if you weren't injured. But at the end of the day, I think for this game...
Let's stick on Theo and Leao for a second.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I mean, usually when I think we've talked about this too in the past. Usually when you're subbed right at the start of the second half, you did something wrong. It's you weren't good enough, and it showed that the coach wasn't happy with them at the end of the day.
And then now it comes back, Mike. Excuse me, the conversation that we were having the other day that you guys keep making fun of Cassano and all the stuff. You need to be consistent on the way you play. You cannot really pick and choose. Okay, today I'm playing well. Oh, the game is on the line. It's an important game, and this is not as important. You need. I'm not questioning their application and the intensity that you play the game, but you have to be a difference maker. You are the leaders of the team, because what you do, it just affects all the rest of the guys. But if you are the person the leader, let's say we call them the leaders of the team, and then you just starting to set the tone in that way. You're not really running. You're making a lot of easy mistakes. Hernandez made a few mistakes again.
That's what I'm saying. That's why he was subbed out.
You keep making mistakes. I said, hey, you needed to snap out of that stuff. So you know what he did? I think this conversation is probably been had in the locker room a while ago. And then I said, hey, guys, if you suck, I'm going to take you out. Okay? So that's what happened. And then he put Bartesaki, which was spectacular since he came in. He crossed the ball 7 or 8 times from the time that he came in. And nice cross. It was not guessing around, all pinpoint crosses.
And Pavlovic got a lot better in the second half as well. He was, there's been so much talk about Pavlovic. There was rumors of him going to Fenerbahce. There's other rumors that he was going to go to Bundesliga as well, because he has not been the player that Milan signed. But he did show great character. He gets the assist as well to Chukwueze on the game winner. He was involved in getting the penalty kick as well. So he's involved in helping them come back. And I think Milan would need him to turn up big time in the center defense, because they absolutely need it. But it's another game that I'm just roller coaster of emotions. Again, Milan come back after going down, which seems to be the theme. I mean, it happened against Como, happened in the Supercoppa, it happened time and time again. Good that they were able to win. It just, the ending of the match with Calabria that sort of shocked all of us because you don't see it very often. I mean, there's been examples in Italy, Delio Rossi fighting, if you remember this, at Fiorentina a couple of years ago. But he was charging after him, and there's so many angles where he's going after the team captain. Calabria is the captain of the team. He's the symbol of Milan.
He was.
Even if he's not important on the pitch, he's still an important symbol of Milan, and you're going after him. And we still don't understand what exactly happened, what he was mad at. There was a lot of rumors that he was mad that they went to a concert, which the night before.
That's right.
But to me, that makes no sense at all. I looked into it. The concert was at 7:30, and then they were back by 9:30, and Milan had officials. Like, the photographer from Milan was at the concert. So it was clearly approved by the team. You're not going to be mad because of that. And you're not going to do it right after the match. What does that have to do with it? It's obviously a performance on the pitch. But it opens the door for the media to go crazy and to put the spotlight on Milan other than what happened on the pitch. Again.
Especially for people like you guys, because that's all you see. That's all you need is just this kind of a food for you to spill hate on AC Milan. That's okay.
That kind of stuff needs to be in the locker room.
Well, we know that needs to be in the locker room, but I think there is more to what you just said. And I think it's the fact that Calabria is probably been stripped by the captainship, because now it's been given to Magnan a couple of times. Beforehand, it was given to Leao and then Theo Hernandez. It's the fact that it's probably the writing is on the wall that Calabria at the end of the season is going to be traded.
But what does that have to do with the performance on the pitch? Because everyone knew this coming into it. We know that Calabria is not going to stay at Milan. We know he's probably going to leave in the summer. We already know all this. So at 90 minutes, you're charging after him for a different reason than that.
Yeah, maybe there are a few words or few things that were said that they were not caught by the hot mic. And this is where we are right now. We're discussing about these things. At the end of the day, in the great scheme of things, it means nothing.
What do you think?
It means something. I just think that obviously I wouldn't have done it as a coach, but I think Conceicao had to prove some sort of point to Calabria. So there could have been words before, and he didn't attack him then. And then when they actually won, that's when he went after him. So I mean, listen, he's a passionate coach. That's how he's gonna live with his emotions on his sleeve. The important thing is that he maintains a locker room. Obviously, Milan. The issue here is, as we said, about consistency, right? When we look at the player, I think it also is a way that you have to identify or look at this team and say, hey, you have to be good, consistently good for 90 minutes. And unfortunately, Milan this year haven't, lived up to that. Leao, Theo Hernandez, it's a very clear message to the team and to the two players that, hey, if you don't play, I don't care who you are, you're getting out, right? And this time it worked. It could have ended really badly, and as Marco said, it's you're not even addressing it the halftime subs of Theo and Leao because you ended up winning, and now Calabria is the new talking point. So yeah, journalists, especially in Italy, they're gonna pinpoint every little thing. But
I don't think they're wrong.
It's a telling sign. I think it's also a telling sign. These are things that we see, and there's reasons for it.
I spoke to a friend that followed Porto a lot, where Conceicao's last club was, and he said he had an example of this in the past where he sort of put the spotlight on one player to try to send a message to the rest of the squad as well that I'm the one who's in charge. But we see him do it with Leao and with Theo. The one thing I'll say, the good thing is, a lot of the conversation from Leao, where he says that we know Conceicao will die for us and we'll die for him, is a good positive. And the other positive is Theo Hernandez was kind of the guy that was going to Conceicao's ear, telling him to relax and calm down. So despite the halftime subs, it seems like they understood that they didn't do the right thing, and it's not that they're going to rebel against the coach, which I think is the positives for Milan. But having said all that, they have a very important game coming up in the Champions League on Wednesday, where somehow Milan, despite the roller coaster of a season, despite having two different coaches, they could finish in the top 8 of the Champions League with the win over Dinamo.
And they avoid two playoff games. So
how do you see their chances?
Good. I mean, I think they're obviously favorites to win the game, but then again, you never really know with this Milan. But I would put, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would put Milan to advance and qualify for the top 8. And with all the controversy. We're talking about Milan. They're not playing good, back and forth. They're doing better than we think. If we take out all the drama and just kind of look at their European standings, they're looking pretty good with a new coach. So overall, maybe we are being a little too harsh at them, even though
I'm not. You
yeah,
guys.
that's what I'm saying. Anto, even though Anto all the time, he feels like he's fighting against everybody else.
I am.
But
And
What about Kyle Walker, by the way?
Kyle Walker.
That's a good
He
addition.
what do you think Kyle Walker was thinking?
Yeah,
Watching
he was-
all this unfold.
First of all-
he sees Milan. He probably looks at Parma. He's like, all right, come on, it's Parma as a lower division team. They put in a crazy game, and then he's watching from the stands, and he sees
Next to
Conceicao chasing
Ibra,
after
next to
the right
Ibra,
back.
and next to Ibra too. You know what I mean, Mike? So
Well,
I said to myself, I said, I hope he doesn't really get all worked out. I said, what kind of a squad did I join? You know what I mean?
Oh, what out?
Huh?
Oh, what out? He doesn't get old.
worked out.
Worked out, not walked out.
Okay, I thought you used like a pun because of Walker.
Milan getting into the top 8 would
take that.
be really good for them financially.
Yeah.
Very important,
Yeah.
and also not having to play these 2 extra games in a long season. Kyle Walker is a positional player that they needed, and he brings a lot of speed and athleticism and the ability to defend.
Leadership?
which is something that you need. Leadership,
You don't think so?
Nah,
I think so.
Come on.
I don't think so.
He's played at Manchester
He's been
City.
away.
Yeah,
He won a lot.
He's
over
been
there.
the captain
time.
for many
And
years.
I actually
No,
think
I
that
think
he's
that's one
going to
of the
bring
biggest
it.
English
things.
national team. He
I think
deserves
that's
it.
one of the biggest.
What
People
Milan-
argue if he's
what-
the best right back.
What Milan need, and the reason why Milan are getting attacked everywhere is because where they stand in the table, the standings, they're very low, where they should be, and
Where they should be.
no, that they should be in the top 4.
Oh.
They should be in the top 3.
I thought he was hitting
Milan.
out at something.
And then the biggest thing is the fact that they have no leadership in the dirigenza, because if you had
As
when things
compared
go
as to you?
when as compared
That's
to us,
the
I have
leader
Marotta,
that you
yes.
have, Marotta.
Yes.
So you can't
When he
question that.
comes out,
I don't
when he
think
Stealing
comes
every
out,
player
No,
for
stop
free
it.
and doing all that.
When he comes out, when the game doesn't go your way, you need somebody that's a leader that's gonna go up to the mic and say, "We messed up, we did this, but there's no chaos, there's no issue." Even after this Conceicao thing, did anybody come out to
Yes,
speak about
they
it?
said it's all cleared out.
Conceicao said it.
Conceicao said it, but
Everything
not
is
the
clear.
dirigenza.
That's it.
But
It's
not
all-
the dirigenza.
It's
I saw. I don't know.
adrenaline.
Dirigenza needs to come out.
The one good thing is, as we mentioned, with this win, Milan could go top 8 in Champions League, which seems quite remarkable for the season. And when we look at how well the Italian teams are doing at this moment, they're giving a 77% chance for Italian teams to get 5 Champions League spots once again. That's Opta's ranking. England has like a 97% chance. We have a 77. Spain is the other only contender. Bundesliga and Liga are not even in the question, and the Portuguese league are not even in question anymore. It's only La Liga that's our competition, who has a 24% chance. And this is a perfect opportunity for the Italian teams to do a great job. Let's cement our place. Let's get the top 5. And then all of a sudden, the race in Italy in Serie A becomes a lot more exciting, because even a team like Milan, who didn't put a lot of points in the first half of the season, with that 5th spot and knowing that that's there, that gives some room for these teams. So it's going to be
I like the way you said it.
it's,
You know
it's
what?
going to be a great thing. And I just hope that if we get so it's really interesting. Juventus have a game which they really messed up against Club Brugge. They screwed up not winning that game. Otherwise, they could have been in the top 8. They would have had a really good chance to be in top 8. Inter need a tie, and they'll be in the top 8. We feel pretty secure about that. They're going to play against Monaco, who is a good team. They just beat Aston Villa. They were on a terrible run of form, but then all of a sudden they beat Aston Villa. Milan, with the win, will go through to the top 8. And then Atalanta is our other hope. They have an uphill battle. They have to go to Barcelona and beat Barcelona.
They can do it.
If they beat Barcelona,
They can do it.
They'll be top 8.
They can do it.
A tie, I don't think we'll be able to do it. And I agree with you. If there's any Italian team that had to go
That's
and
right.
beat Barcelona, I would actually put Atalanta there.
AC Milan beat Real Madrid in Madrid, okay? In Madrid, not in Italy. Now, to get back to what you were saying
Hold on,
before.
let's talk about the Atalanta.
One second.
Which
No,
one?
I
Which
wanted to
one's
finish
that?
up, because then it's going to get out of my head. We're not in best
Write it
shape
down.
into the standing. We are 3 points away
From
with
what?
with a game on hands from Juventus. And we are 4 points or 5 points from Lazio. We are right there. We're going to be 3rd or 4th.
So your objective was to be
So-
in Champions League.
We are.
That was no. I'm saying the objective was to be in Champions
Yeah.
League.
Yeah,
right.
that's
It is.
right. That's right.
You thought Milan was can be first?
If anything,
he said that they were going to win the Scudetto. Didn't you say you were going to win the Scudetto?
Relax,
I don't understand.
for now is the Champions League.
Now it's the
I will let
Champions
you know later, okay? If anything, I will.
Now you're going to win the Scudetto.
I will be more worried if I was a Juventus fan that maybe Juventus might not be able to clip the 5th spot, even though your friend over there. Okay, he said it. 100%. We're making the Champions.
You guys are the ones that have been floating up and down and going. Oh yeah, today no. Yes, today no.
By the
today,
way, we're
yes,
not
today,
dealing
no.
with ties. You know, we're not dealing with ties. You know, high tie, low ties.
I have not changed
low ties, high ties.
I have not changed my stance.
Thiago Motta, high ties, high Thiago, low Thiago. What happened? How many ties we need?
I have not changed my stance once. I've said since the very beginning who is going to get 5 Champions League spots, and I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to be Inter, Napoli, Juventus, Milan, and Atalanta. Whatever order you want to argue, that's fine. But those will be the 5 teams in Champions League, in my opinion. That's what I thought before the season. That's what I still think right now. And despite Juventus and Milan doing really poorly, you'll see at the end of the year that they're going to play Champions League football next year.
You know what? I'm going to finish up your thought, which is I love it. I love your thought. But let's hope that the high tie lifts all the boats. In this particular case, lifts all the Serie A team fighting for that position for the first 5 spots.
Listen,
okay?
Lazio and Fiorentina are there. I mean, the game that they just had
They're not gonna make it.
I
was
think
a
Lazio
really
could
big
do a little
one.
surprise.
They're not.
You think Lazio will?
They don't have it. They don't have
I'm
it.
not saying they will. I think they could surprise us.
So if there was an outsider to the 5 teams that
Yeah,
I
I
just
think
mentioned, you would put Lazio
I
there,
put Lazio.
despite the loss to Fiorentina.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. That was just a bad
Yeah,
game.
but Mike, it's been happening lately a little bit too often, and there is no excuse.
Hey, maybe they'll win Europa League, and then we could get 6 teams.
Oh, that would be nice.
I mean, they're by themselves.
They might. It's a very good chance that they might.
At first place, they're doing phenomenal in the
That's
Europa
what I'm
League. They
saying.
beat Real Sociedad. I think for me, the game against Fiorentina, it came down. There was an incredible desire from Fiorentina, number one, where there's so many rumors and so much conversation around Palladino. Did he lose the locker room? What's going on? For me, the players in that match showed up and said, "We are 100% Palladino." They look ruthless. They had such a good character, especially in the first half, where it could have been 3-0 pretty early on when Goodmanson hits the post as well. I thought Foloruncio looked really great for them. Then the end of the match became chaos. And I think if there was a couple more minutes, Lazio would have tied the game.
Easily.
But for me, it was a Lazio that looked very tired. They just had Europa League. They don't have the deepest of benches. Lotito still doesn't invest in the squad despite clear signs that they need defenders, they need midfielders. Rovella's not there, and they don't move the ball the same way. So I thought Fiorentina would get a result in this. They get the win, and it was box office, especially for the way that the game ended, even though the referee was
He came
pretty,
in the second
was
half.
pretty terrible.
He came in, right?
He came in the second half. And that's when they started playing better towards the end of the game. But for me, Guendouzi was the only guy that really played well for Lazio.
There was 10 more minutes, man.
Not even.
Oh my God! That
There's
post,
some-
that
I'm
post,
saying for a
that,
win,
that
not
shot
even
that
for
hit
a
the
draw.
post at the
Oh
last
my
second.
God.
Pete.
So Mike says Lazio would be the outsider to get into that top
Champions
5
League.
conversation that
And
I
who's
was
going to be
mentioning.
dropped? I think either Juventus or Milan. You think?
Doesn't
Mike,
matter.
Who's going to drop? Mike?
That's not the point.
Say Juventus.
One of
Who
them.
would be the okay? This guy loses his chance. Can't answer a question. who would it be for you?
I think it still stays Lazio. As
Lazio?
Mike said, yep.
I'll agree with that as well. Actually, even Bologna, the way Bologna is playing recently, I know they tie against Empoli. These guys are going to be tough come the second part of the season, especially if Lazio goes further on into the Europa League and there's more tired legs, and if Lotito doesn't invest in the squad, I wouldn't rule out Bologna doing it back to back. I really like what Italiano's
That win
doing with
versus
the squad.
Dortmund too. That they came back from being a goal down. That was incredible.
You know
I
why
guess-
Bologna can be the wild card in our head, in my head at least, is because Bologna, let's say they get eliminated from the Champions League, they will not have the
They are
wording
eliminated.
What?
They're officially
mathematically
eliminated.
They are,
eliminated,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so they are technically putting themselves on the spot to not to have the fight and prepare for the Champions League matches and things like that. So they will be able to prepare the games at hand
That's
with
what
a
I'm
lot
saying.
more time and all the stuff. I would say Bologna more than Lazio.
And the strikers are starting to score more goals. That's what I say. I actually I agree with that.
You put them over Lazio.
Yeah. I don't know why. I see something in this Bologna side. I'm scared with how Lazio is going to be able to deal with the multiple competitions and also the lack of rotation within their squad. I mean, I know Marusic scores, but still for me, he's a defender that makes a lot of mistakes. And when they don't have their full 11 that's perfect, there's a big drop-off. even Fiorentina has a good bench. They have players that come in that I think are really good quality.
They're also playing in Europe too. Let's not forget, right?
Yeah, they didn't have the game
their
this
conference
week.
league, exactly.
Yeah,
their conference league, so
it
that's
ends
something
early.
to say, exactly.
Let's switch gears and talk about Napoli-Juventus. What a match it was. Let's do Napoli first. Let's give praise first to the winning team. And I think it's going to take us a long time to dive deep into them. And then we'll go on Juventus and Thiago Motta. What a second half from Napoli. Once again, the last two games from Napoli I think they started to turn the doubters, the people that doubted Napoli could do it, into believers. They beat Atalanta. They beat Juventus. This was the start of their tough schedule.
From a goal
I
behind.
would have taken ties in this game, yet they came back from losing positions into this one. And when you look at the numbers, they had 53 points after 38 games last year. They have 53 points right now. They've gotten all their points from last year. They already have it at this point in the season. And they've done it playing better football now. Anguissa's playing the football of his life. But besides the tactics and anything else, it's just the desire. The second half, one team came out of the locker room, and the other team is still probably there. They're still stuck in Naples. For me, Antonio Conte, what he's doing, phenomenal. And finally, the doubters are silent.
Antonio Conte is not doing shit.
At the end of the day,
Oh, come on,
for the,
Anto.
I mean, at the
He's
end
not
of the day,
playing.
Anto, for the people that are doubting, I feel like you're either a hater of Conte or you haven't
don't hate
really
him. I don't
looked
hate
at his
anybody.
coaching career.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it's not really anything out of the blue. He's done this before.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing this, it just reaffirms your belief of what he could do with playing in no European competitions and playing a game a week. We've seen it before. Whether you admit it or not, he's just doing it over and over. And at the end of the day, he did this against Juventus, he did this against Atalanta, being a goal behind. I was doubting. I was like, if they get a draw, it'll be fine. But getting the win, I was like, wow.
But when they came out the second half, and you saw how well they were playing,
Oh,
didn't you
man.
know that they were going to win the game?
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't you just feel it?
That plus Juventus always falling in the second half, that was like, okay, it's coming.
I think
It's only matter
that's
of
a
time.
really good sign for them is the belief. The belief is there, and I even love Antonio Conte. I love his press conferences. I heard him before the game. He had a quote that said, "Unbeaten teams don't exist. Sooner or later, they all lose a game." So if he's saying that to the media, if he's saying that to the press conference, just imagine what he was saying in the second half to his team, and they clearly turned up. Pete.
He slapped you
yeah.
with his streak.
He's a motivator. He's someone that's going to be able to get the maximum out of every little, every player. And he's always been known to do that. So it doesn't surprise me. Did I think they were going to be in this sort of form? Probably not, especially with the Atalanta or Juventus. I would have thought at least maybe not necessarily any losses, but like you said, a tie. But he's just been fantastic. I think you have to give credit also to Napoli getting the players that he wanted. McTominay, Lukaku, even Neres now has come out and is a phenomenal player for Serie A. And obviously Kvara leaving. Let's see what can be had in the last days of the market, because I think the team doesn't necessarily need another player, but if you're able to get a star, it will definitely bring this team to another level. And just imagine if once Buongiorno gets back in as well, because you have Juan Jesus, who is a nightmare of a defender, and he's holding his own. So you have to give credit to Conte. His mentality is number one. His relentlessness, his ability to, like I said, just figure a way to win. And I think even in his messages, he obviously took shots to Juventus, to Thiago Motta, when everyone said, "Oh, the beautiful football," and whatever. He said, "I can play with the best of them." And I even look at Conte's Inter, right? Even though they struggled in Champions League to get out of the group or whatever, I remember his game versus Barcelona, where Conte had that team moving, in Barcelona with Asensi. So he's capable of it. He just understands what it takes to win, and sometimes, similar to the Juventus motto,
Let's hear it.
winning is everything, right? That's it. So for him, he doesn't care. You
Fino alla
want to
fine,
play.
fino alla
You want to
fine.
play great football. great. You could play great football with Fonseca, but you're not going to win anything.
Yeah,
with
but
Fonseca.
I the thing is, and I love that he addressed this too in the last press conference. He said whoever thinks that we're defending and counterattacking, you're not watching the games. You're not. Because you're not. They can play beautiful football, and beautiful football is so subjective because there's beauty in the spirit and the intensity. If you watch Napoli's games this season, and I'm saying actually watch, I haven't missed a game. If you watch and you don't think there's something beautiful about what they're doing, okay, we have completely different ideas of what football is supposed to be. For me, the way that they play is...
Listen.
Look at Politano. Look at Politano.
Listen to
the
me.
guy's playing 90 minutes up and down, up and down. He runs back. He's trying to win the ball, and he's able to kick the ball out, and he's celebrating as if it's a goal.
And then what Conte said after the game too, he said and he threw shots at a lot of different teams. He said Juventus, Inter, and Milan. When you go there, no talking. There's no talking. You have to win. History says you have to win. And he's absolutely right. He is the best at getting that immediate impact. And you could even see with Thiago Motta on the sideline. I don't know if you guys saw the clip. Did you send it?
No, I didn't send it.
Thiago Motta was mad about a call, and he starts ironically clapping.
Yeah,
and Conte is there, and he says, "Applaudi sto," and you can fill in the blank.
Applaudisci sta, stu, whatever. Guys, you guys are way too high over Conte. Let me just give you my take. Instead of being eulogizing Conte, I would put a
eulogizing.
Eulogizing?
Never heard that word. Maybe it is.
Like eulogy?
This grandeur, this guy's the best thing.
Say like the best words of him. Say like the best.
But he's okay.
Instead of eulogizing Conte, I will put a lot more pressure on Thiago Motta because his team had a dropped from here all the way to the bottom. The first half was beautiful. Juventus played beautifully the first half. You got Colomwani. The first time into the squad, he scores.
That's the only thing he did. That was the goal.
Relax. He scored. The ball went behind the
net.
The net. I mean, it was
behind the net.
Yeah, no. The ball went behind the goalkeeper,
but in the net.
In the net. So
I don't understand. Did it go in the net or around the net?
To me, I didn't see Napoli switching gears. Going to the higher gear. It was the Juventus that dropped. Juventus dropped.
Did you watch with your eyes closed?
Listen, Juventus dropped.
You're a hater. You're mad.
Juventus dropped.
Mad.
I criticize.
You're mad that Conte's from Lecce.
No, I'm not.
Say the truth.
I could have 20 beers with him.
And Conte should have been the coach of Milan.
No, it's not. They would never coach AC Milan.
Would have been
never coach AC Milan. You know what I think happened? I think you guys... You're not high anymore on Vlahovic. Vlahovic has been put on the side already. Vlahovic, even though it's not officially signed out to another team, Vlahovic is no longer part of this project.
You're right.
So
look at the minutes that he's played. For the third time in a row, he sits on the bench, and it's no longer an injury thing. He does not fit the style that Thiago Motta wants. And I think another team is going to get a really good deal on Dusan Vlahovic because he is a goal scorer. I think that the project has clearly failed at Juventus. They spent 70+ million. Fiorentina, look pretty good, pretty smart right now with having sold him. But for me, in the right place, and I'm not giving an excuse to Vlahovic, I think that he is obviously culpable for what's happened so far. It's not the excuse of Max Allegri's not there, which, to be honest, I thought that was it. Still with Thiago Motta's system, he's not able to be involved because he's not a striker that could play with the ball. But I still believe we are going to see Dusan Vlahovic go on to a bigger club. Maybe not right now, but eventually he's going to be bagging in goals, and everyone's going to say he was the player that got away.
I have doubts on that, and I'll tell you the reasons why. First of all, I fault Thiago Motta because you got two very good strikers. Why can't you play both of them? Start. Show maybe there is something out there that we don't see.
Who's the two strikers? Colomwani and Vlahovic.
That's right.
But it's been one game, so we can't really say anything.
Well, but you bring Vlahovic when the game is already out of hands. You have just put them working together because one draws a lot of attention, the other one draws just as much attention. So you gotta have to find somebody that is open because if you double up Vlahovic or if you double up Colomani, somebody else is gonna get open. So I thought Motta, strategically, Motta at Bologna did a spectacular job. Right now, I think he's starting from scratch on Juventus. He looks confused. He looks very tentative on the things that he does. His sub decision are really questionable for me. Really do not understand what does he have on his mind, this guy here. I don't think he's a Juventus Calabria coach, this guy here.
You think he needs to be sacked?
I think I will sack him.
Now or at the end of the season?
Now. Sack him now. You might not be able to make a Champions League. I got news for you. We have a lot of teams over there fighting for the 5th spot. And you might find yourself fighting either Bologna, Lazio, Fiorentina to the 5th spot.
You honestly believe that?
I do.
I disagree, but that's fair. There's a lot of people with the opinion that he's not going to be capable of doing it for Juventus. I think that it's a matter of time. I think that, honestly, if you're looking at it, if you're making a list, Giuntoli is probably higher on the list in terms of people that are culpable right now. I think it's a season of transition, but there can't be the excuse. There's too many excuses, and I wish that there was an ability to adapt. The fact that every game goes exactly the way that we expect. Mike said it before. You know that Juventus is going to fall apart in the second half. They score one goal. It's the same thing over and over again. They score one goal, and then they fall asleep. They're not capable of getting the second goal. They look dead tired at certain points. And I say to myself, he can't even change the team to adapt to different moments within a match.
As much as unacceptable that is from Juventus' team, you just can't sack him before the season ends. You just can't. It doesn't make sense. It's not enough time. You brought him for a sole reason to build a project. Projects aren't built in 6 months, 7. You need at least a season. Even a season is a little. If you're committed to building something, you gotta let it run.
At what cost? Mike,
what do you mean at what
cost? Mike, listen to me. Fonseca got sacked 3 weeks ago.
You gotta sacrifice a little bit.
Fonseca got sacked. Okay.
And Fonseca's not a coach for building. That's you got to say
Who
straight
said
up.
so?
Because it
based
is.
on what? What makes you think that this guy here all of a sudden is the coach to build? What did he build before?
Look at Bologna.
Thiago Motta. Well, a moment.
At Spezia, he did very well.
At Spezia,
Bologna, he did
About
very
1
well.
year? 1 year?
No,
Come on.
he was there for
2
a couple-
years. 2
Yeah,
years.
he was-
Okay.
But he
Bologna,
needs
his second
time,
year is when it
Ando.
really took off.
Would you take that chance to have Motta building?
You have to.
Wait a moment.
We gotta
Let me-
keep sacking everyone every 6
Let
months.
me finish.
It's not
They
sustainable.
gave
You are
Allegri
Juventus.
3 years. You
Marco,
gave Allegri 3 years.
But Marco, you are Juventus. What Juventus means from giving them an opportunity to build up the team in 2 years, it's understood that you're going to be making the Champions League regardless. Because for Juventus not making into Champions League and you want to give this extra time to this guy here, if this guy doesn't make the Champions League, this guy is not going to see the light of the day for next year. I'm telling you right now.
Okay. But you're saying to sack him right now. They're right there for Champions League. They're right there.
Well, yeah, they're right there. But
right there.
why would you wait for things to go much worse than what they are right now?
Because who would you go on and get? I think it would be irrational. Juventus haven't sacked the coach, to my knowledge, since Del Neri. That's the last time I remember Juventus sacking a coach. They just don't do that. It's not. I think it creates a lot of instability. Yes, it's different directors, it's different presidents at the club. And Nelly's not there anymore, and he was probably the guy that didn't want to do that. I don't see Juventus doing that. And to be honest, I know that Mike and I sound crazy saying this, and I know a lot of Juventus fans completely disagree. And you're justified to be upset with the way that the team looks. And I think that he is culpable for a lot, but I'm of the same exact opinion as Mike. I think that he has to.
You are a Juventus fan. You have to.
What does that have to do
He
with it?
has to do it.
I'm not a
You have to
Juventus
do
fan.
it.
So what's my?
Yeah, you are a
what's my
closet
thing?
fan anyway. But Marco, I gotta tell you something. It's very risky. What you guys are doing is very risky. I mean, even Grella, from time to time, I see his comment, even though it doesn't explicitly, comes out, nothing comes out of his mouth. Said, "Hey, fire him." But I read his mind, and I think he's right. Grella is right. I have to be honest with you, not because I want to take his side instead of your
I
side.
don't know your fortune teller on that.
But it's fine. Everybody.
Grella's
That's the beautiful
right.
thing about this world is everyone could have their opinion. Everybody's watched the games. You could take everything into account, and you make your decision. And then in the end, we'll see.
We'll see who's right.
We'll see if Thiago Motta's Juventus ever clicks. If it does, then yeah, Michael and I will say, okay, yeah, we saw the writing. If it doesn't, then you guys are right. That's the beautiful thing. There's a lot of money involved in this Juventus project. They can't slip up. And like Conte said, Juventus means winning. He understands that. But this is a younger team. It's a much younger project. It's the second youngest team in Serie A. That's not the excuse that right now has been acceptable. Absolutely not. I still think the minimum goal, and maybe my expectations were much lower than a lot of people coming into the year. I thought top 3 was going to be the goal for Juventus, but I never saw them competing for the title.
You know what made maybe the Juventus fan a little bit more spoiled than we expected them? It's because he started off so strong. If he didn't start off as high, maybe the emotions of the Juve fans would have been a bit more
One goal
balanced.
conceded in the first 9 games. That's how good they were with Bremer, when Bremer was there.
But that's what,
one goal in the first 9.
Maybe if you had a couple more losses, a couple more draws, be like, okay, more level-headed. But starting off so hot and then dipping, it changes the emotion.
And I don't want that to be seen as an excuse, because there is faults to Thiago Motta. I think you said it with the substitutions. Some of the substitutions are crazy. Some of the dip of players, the way that Cup Miners, he doesn't know what his position is. He doesn't know where he's supposed to be playing. I mean, Cup Miners was devastating when he made the runs into the box for Atalanta. He was not a guy that built up. Was Cup Miners ever an Atalanta player that was a midfielder that was really good at distributing or making long pass? I don't remember that. What I remember
like a
is
second striker.
Everyone else was very creative around him, so he can make the darting runs, and that's why he scored so many goals. That's a problem. Another problem is we say Bremer went out, and that hurts Juventus. The way that they handled Danilo, I still can't believe it. I get that Danilo is not part of your plans in the beginning of the season, and I can't believe I'm the one defending Danilo, because I've never been a huge fan of Danilo. But you have to be able to adapt, no? Don't you have to be able to say, the guy was the captain of Juventus last year. He's got a lot of experience. I just lost Bremer. I just lost this player. I just lost Cabal. I lost everybody. Let me find a way to get him into the squad. For me, I think Danilo's a professional. I think Danilo would do what's asked. For me, that is another real question mark that I have. And whether that, I think it's Thiago Motta. Why didn't you find a way to bring him in?
There's stuff that we don't
Marco,
know about.
ask yourself
It's
this.
weird, though, no?
Because
That's weird.
The thing with Danilo, he was a kind of player you can plug and play. You can put him in a lot of positions. He was very versatile. And by
Right
him,
back, center back,
that's what
back
and he
three.
did it pretty well for what he did. But there shows that there was something that's not being told. There was maybe some miscommunication between the coach and him.
But Danilo's not a rotten apple. Danilo's a leader. Danilo played on Real Madrid. He's played for Brazil.
Yeah.
He was the captain of
there has to be
Juventus.
a
He was
falling
not
out.
given
Understands
he was
Juventus.
not given the captain band for a reason.
There's
so
a
for,
falling out. There's
for,
a falling
And I
out for
get that.
sure.
I get that part. But my thing is, you can adapt. I get that you went into the season without Danilo as the focus. But when you're desperate for good defenders, you can't tell me that Danilo wouldn't play his part with this Juventus.
It's something else. It's
But
something
Mike,
else.
there is something else that needs to be added. I agree with that, but let me just remind you guys something. Thiago Motta is someone that can get very personal with a player. The writing on the wall for Chiesa, nobody saw it. Chiesa wanted to stay in Juventus. Thiago Motta, for some reasons, he never went out to say, hey, let me talk to this guy here. Maybe
Yeah, it seems
we'll
that way.
find a way. It seems to me that this guy's got a problem. I said, if you're not with me, you are against me. It cannot be like I accept your opinion, or you have a different opinion, or you have a freedom of say whatever you want, but maybe we'll make things working. If you're not 100% married to his project, you're done. Yeah. You are done. I do not know why Vlahovic cannot work in the system that Thiago Motta has it.
It's
This
very
guy,
rigid.
that's what I said.
I feel like you're right.
He's
For
similar
me,
to Conte in that
that's
sense.
what I
Yeah,
said.
but different, right? Because, for example, Conte wanted Danilo. Conte says he's desperate for Chiesa. So for a coach like Conte to want these two players, then Thiago Motta, you have it. And I get maybe you have one idea in your head of how the team should look. But you also have to say, and another Conte quote is, he says, a great coach is like a tailor. You have to make the suit with the material that you have. Sometimes you can't change everything right away. You could implement different ideas and slowly get progress. So I agree with you guys that I do have those question marks around him, but I'm still of the opinion with Mike that he's the guy to lead the project.
I don't know if you guys remember, but before Motta, when Motta signed for Juventus, but before he even met with the team, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was rumors circling around that Chiesa wasn't part of the project, and we're like, we don't want to kind of listen to that. He didn't even meet with the squad. Who knows? But man, those
exactly what Antonio just said.
So some of those rumors really stuck. If he likes a player, he likes him. If he doesn't, you're out of there.
Mike, I'm not questioning the idea that it's a middle of the range player or things like that. We're talking about one of the best strikers in Serie A.
Italy.
One of the best strikers in Serie A and the national team. You just put him away. You just cast him away from the squad. Are you kidding me?
And again,
are you kidding me?
Again, we don't know sometimes with contracts. There could be problems behind the scene. Even Weston McKennie, for example. A lot of people thought that Thiago Motta didn't want Weston McKennie, but that's not the truth. Weston McKennie had a contract situation with Juventus. They were looking to offload. We know Juventus sold a lot of players. Even you see Huijsen, who was at Bournemouth. Now that Barcelona wanted to pay $100 million for him, so they were looking to sell guys. McKennie, Thiago Motta loves McKennie. He's playing him anywhere, right back, left back, center midfield, right wing back, anywhere, because he brings a lot of experience to the squad. So we don't know full stories, but I do agree with you guys that it seems to be that way. You just missed us saying.
I think I figured
caught
out.
up.
Meanwhile, Chiesa's going to win the Champions League with Liverpool.
How
Motta's gonna be
nice.
struggling
How
to make
sweet
Champions
that
League.
is, man.
He's starting to
We
fit
were
in.
criticizing Thiago Motta, Pete.
He looks happy there.
Yeah,
Chiesa.
he's
He
To
looks
starting
real
me,
happy.
this guy is a fault, or not 100% a fault, but I will say good 75% for the way Juventus is performing on the field. And,
What's your take on the situation?
The decision making
He
between
thinks
him
he
and
should be sacked
Marotta.
Mike and I think
I
that
would
he needs
sack
to
him.
carry out the project.
To sack him now, you're just doing damage to Juventus and what they're trying to do moving forward. Because then you have to go after another coach, and it's going to be the same, sob story. Where now it's like, okay, anno zero. It's always going to be, the start of something.
Yeah.
So you're never going to be able to see something through. I think, at the very least, you stay with him till the end of the year. You see how things kind of develop. I mean, there's positives to take out of this team
What are
as
they?
well. Well, the fact they were unbeaten until now, that shows promise. I'm sorry, it
Unbeaten
shows.
was,
Okay, but it
shows
shows that
some
you're
character. It shows
not
character, I
losing
I don't think
games.
any
So
Juventus fan was happy about
I get
being
it. I
unbeaten.
get it. It's not something that's. It's not like you won every game. You're tying every game, but still.
Did you say
But it's still.
Did you just say tie? Thiago Motta? Did you just say that? Did I hear right?
the worst
That's
thing in the
right.
world is
But
that I told you
that's
that.
exactly the issue with Juventus. They were unbeaten, but for Juventus, it's not important to be unbeaten. It's
Cravatta.
important to win. And I think that's what he's lacking right now.
What are the other positives?
Understanding the culture of winning, making sure that you have to, win at every cost.
What are the other positives? that you
Other
would take?
positives? No, well, listen.
He has no hair.
Hold on. 5, 4, 3,
The
2,
youngsters,
1.
some
There
of
are
the
no
youngsters-
positive
Yeah,
of
I
it.
would say the younger
would-
players
Yildiz.
that have come into the team. But I wouldn't necessarily give that all to Thiago Motta. It's more so because of injuries and the fact that they have the second team now in Serie
But to
A,
be fair,
that these guys are
he
more
started
ready.
the first game of the season when he starts Mbangula, a guy that nobody even knew that was playing in Serie A a couple months ago. Nobody expected Mbangula to be there, and Thiago Motta believed in him to start the
He
season
did,
with.
but also he's the one that's been watching him for the past month and a half.
So you gotta
of
give
preseason.
that's one
You
positive.
notice somebody and you take. No,
Gatti
yeah,
was
I'm
laying
not.
bricks a couple of years ago.
I'm not
That's right.
arguing, but
Might have to go
That's-
back to that.
No, Gatti. I'll
Gatti.
take
Mod-
it.
Gatti.
Motta's going to ask if he has another position.
yeah.
You guys are so silly.
No, but
Oh, my
guys are so-
God.
I think Thiago, is the culture of Juventus is not. He's not getting it, and he's got a lot of confusion right now, figuring out what to do, and there's always. He's always trying to reinvent something, and I think
Confusione.
I think that's the issue.
Let's talk about Inter because we went long on that. We covered it all. Inter they do
Another
some
win. What's new?
they do something that Napoli can't do, which is to just be ruthless and cutthroat and just not give an opposition a single chance. They kill Lecce.
Well, depends because versus Milan we gave him a lot of chances.
Well, lately at least, Inter is capable of doing that. And
I'm giving you a positive.
I know the positive that you gave it to us.
Frattesi finally starts for the first time in 3 months. The guy scores. He earns a penalty kick. Frattesi started 9 times for Inter, the last 9 times. 6 goals, 3 assists. I think this guy needs to play a little bit more. I was happy for him that he got the go ahead, and I think he looked great. Besides that, Thuram, amazing. Lautaro, playing with more confidence. Dumfries in 2025 has been a really interesting player. He's a player that I doubted for a long time, Dumfries. I always saw him as the weak part to Inter, but I should say that this year he's done very, very, very well.
Ando, do you think this win or Inter killed Lecce was a little signal to Antonio Conte's hometown? Be like, Antonio Conte, this is what I did to your hometown team. You're next, buddy.
Oh,
To rub it in a little bit more.
where do you get these questions from?
See,
What do you think,
Mike,
You
has
two are
got
both
something.
sick.
Yeah.
You're
No,
both
I'm not
You
sick.
have
Yeah,
a screw
you're
loose
normal.
and
Well,
the
you're
screws in
normal.
your brain.
Mike apparently knows that we have a big rivalry between Bari and Lecce, and Conte being a Lecce's native.
But he coached Bari.
Huh?
But he coached Bari.
Yeah,
That's
but
why he's
that
not
doesn't
allowed
mean-
back in Lecce.
Wait a moment.
So he's hated by everyone.
Yeah. Conte is not somebody that draws a lot of sympathies from people that they deal with him, especially from the Paresi, like us, and from people that they've been wronged when they were playing against his team, in this particular case, Inter or Juventus. So I got to tell you something. This guy here, he might be the right fit for Napoli now, because all is working out.
How did we get back to? How did we get back to this? We're
No,
talking
because
about
this guy-
Inter and Frattesi.
Okay, Frattesi. Let's go back to
Oh,
Frattesi.
No, hold on. I want to hear from.
But let
from
me
Peter.
finish up what I was
what were you
saying
saying?
to him. What I was saying that Conte is gonna for the goods and the bads. It's always gonna be on the spotlights because he makes it all the time about himself and not about the team.
Understood.
Okay, no,
Thank
finish
you for
up.
that. Finish up.
Frattesi, you should give up on Frattesi
Why?
because he doesn't like to be
You
over
want to
there.
see Frattesi
he
more?
likes it.
What'd you think?
No, of course I want to see Frattesi play more also for the Italian national team. But listen, you have a Mkhitaryan in front of you. When you have Mkhitaryan,
At 37 years old,
and this guy's still going up and down like an animal, and he offers more going forward in terms of his technical ability. Frattesi still, he'll find you the goal. He's really great at making the runs, darting runs into the box. But let's not forget the 2 games prior versus Bologna, versus Milan, he missed chances right in front of goal. So, you know, when you want to win your spot, you got to perform like you did versus Lecce. And listen, he deserves more time. That's for sure. But I think it's just more so Inzaghi also being stubborn, where Frattesi can't play with Barella because he always has to sub one or the other out. And that's kind of limited Frattesi's opportunity because Barella is a better player. Let's be honest. So, you know, Inter playing in 3 different competitions. They need the midfielders. We've had a lot of injuries this year, and we're still able to maintain a certain level, which is important. And I think Frattesi is going to be fine. I don't think there's any issue. Obviously, Inter did an amazing job between the direttore, between the coach. They downplayed everything. There's always something.
They're
Listen,
smart.
if you're gonna listen, there's the agent working, there's the other teams working. There's always conversations, but until there's actual offer or actual facts, it's all chiacchiere. That's all.
I think for the sake of the Azzurri, Frattesi should go to a team where he's a starter.
Thing is, it's not going to happen now.
And in Italy.
Market's
I
closed on
know.
And it
February
should
3rd.
stay-
I wish it would be a
Italy.
6-month loan
Give
thing.
it to Roma. Roma,
But
they might.
It's unrealistic.
It's already past that. Zielinski played instead of Aslani. Did you prefer
Yeah.
that?
I think Aslani's time is done with Inter.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's just a telling sign that he needs to move on.
I could see Zielinski doing what Hakan does.
He should. The only thing is Zielinski's defensive work rate is not as high.
Hakan's
as
wasn't
Hakan.
at a certain point.
No, it
And
wasn't.
he worked on it.
Yeah,
he
no,
got
it's
a lot
true.
better.
It's true. But Zielinski likes the ball too much. That's the only thing. He holds
Hakan-
on to the ball.
They're kind of similar with the ball at their feet.
The technical ability,
Yeah.
Zielinski's better dribbling. He's better to beat his man. But again, when you drop into that 6, you got to get the ball and release the ball.
Zielinski keeps thinking of playing that trequartista role too much.
Yeah,
Maybe
he
that's
likes
why.
to be that offensive.
I liked
eight.
it better than Aslani.
Yeah,
That's what I'll
yeah,
say.
for sure.
I think Aslani can work on Juventus.
He can
Maybe.
go to Milan.
It's a middle of the range
right.
guy that can fit Juventus
Style?
style. Yeah, that's right.
I think we're okay.
Yeah, what you do?
Thanks
Take
for the offer,
Aslani and
Aldo,
give
right?
a mechanic to AC Milan, so we take all the Americans. We want all the Americans.
Who's had it? Nice assist.
You know,
Reinders.
beautiful, huh?
Atalanta won as well. Matteo Retegui scoring twice. 5 goals in 4 games? Scored 4 goals in
he's good.
in each of his last game. The guy is on fire.
It's not
He's-
fully fit yet. Believe me.
He's a beast.
From Kanikati.
He is the
right, baby.
definition.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a definition of a striker. Definition of a 9. I love him.
It's a deadly killer, that guy.
You almost
Like
forget
that.
about Scamacca being injured because
Scamacca is
Azzurri-
no longer going to be part of Atalanta if Retegui keeps
I
performing.
think they
at
can
this
play
level.
together.
Well, I
You
think
think so?
I
Yeah.
think unfortunately Atalanta's going to sell Retegui and Scamacca is going to be.
No.
I think he's better than Scamacca.
Oh, you're saying if they want to monetize, they want to get a lot
Sell
of
him for
money?
80
Of course,
million
they
or
bought him
something?
for how much?
Oh my-
25.
25.
Oh my
Premier
God.
League is calling 70
80.
million.
I
at
think
the
he would
end-
actually
Oh
fit
my
at the end of
over
this
there.
year.
God.
At the end of the
Yeah,
year.
our boys in the Prem are doing well so far. Tonali Tonali scored this week.
Calafiori.
Calafiori scored the winner as well. They're starting to really like them.
Getting some minutes.
Chiesa's getting his minutes slowly but surely.
He's been assisting in scoring, right?
I'm liking it. I'm happy. I'm happy to see the Italians when they go abroad, and if they weren't given the opportunity or there wasn't the right money in certain places, to play their part and finally get some love that I think the spotlight's on you more in the Premier League. That's without a doubt.
Marco,
people start to talk about you that would never have talked about you before.
Do you think we need Spalletti to make a phone call to Chiesa, even though he's not putting a lot of time in
Chiesa's staying. Guys, it's January 28th today, right? 29th?
It's going to be very hard.
The market closes in February 3rd. He made a decision. He wants to stay and play his part in Liverpool.
No, what I'm saying, making a phone call to say, hey, get yourself trained, because I'm going to use you on the national team.
Yeah, I think he's going to. I think he will. And I think Chiesa is going to play a bigger part for Liverpool in the second half of the season. And I hope he does, because I think he's got all the capabilities. I heard what Arne Slot said, and Liverpool's having an iconic year so far. There's talks in England that they could do the quadruple. They're going to win the Premier League because Arsenal and Nottingham Forest, they slip up once again. They're going to win there. They could go far in their competitions, their national competitions. And then in the Champions League, they are the favorites at the moment. You put Liverpool, Real Madrid, Inter up there, but they're one of the favorites to go on and win the competition. You're not going to do it with always playing the same guys. And Arne Slot said when Chiesa came in, he was not fit yet. I did a whole preseason with the other guys, and he was not there. So it's going to take time. And also, the guys in front of him are pretty good players as well. But I think that he does have the ability to play in the Premier League. I think that he'll fit that style. And I think once he gets going, the fans in England are going to love him because he's so direct. He only thinks about one thing. And I think it could be electric for them.
You know, we've been talking about all of those things. God forbid what you just said does not really translate into the actuality. I think AC Milan should make a push for Chiesa. I think it will be the perfect guy for AC Milan.
In January.
Perfect. Yes.
All roads lead to Milan, Anton.
Yes.
It's not happening.
Huh?
Now?
You give them 25-30 million, they'll give it to you.
But you don't have 25-30 million.
Who told you that?
You need a midfielder.
We're going to get 77 million from the Champions League because we're going to qualify
you understand that you need a
top
midfielder?
8.
Fofana can't play every game. You need a midfielder. Do you know that?
Yeah. Yeah, and what does that mean?
You need a midfielder.
We got plenty of midfielders.
No, you don't.
We have plenty of midfielders.
No, you don't.
We got plenty.
I don't think you do have a midfielder.
You gave up Adli, Anto.
Ugly?
Adli.
Ugly.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
All right, let's hope for the Italian teams to do well this week in Champions League, in Europa League. We also need Roma to win. Forgot about them. Thank God Lazio's done the job so far, but Roma felt
They might win.
AZ Alkmaar.
They might win.
We need them to. And yeah, anything else? Or we're good?
I guess so, right?
Guess we're good. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.